Life in an urban areas is always full of stories and colors. This story is not just about elite areas and tall buildings or rampant modernity. The nation's capital always has its charms, both for the natives as well as immigrants trying their luck. Well, Jakarta is a challenge for all things. That includes surviving in life. In this episode, we are in a sub-district which has a famous market with the largest textile wholesale center in Southeast Asia. This market has a history long enough along the times. You must have guessed it. Yes, you're right. We are in Tanah Abang. This area is very crowded, full of sellers and buyers who make transactions that almost never stop. The Tanah Abang market has several buildings that provide various needs for the people of Jakarta. But do you know, the movement of the business is not only in the market area, but also spread to some of the roads nearby. So let's tell a story, only in a Stories of Taste. Long before it became a wholesale center in Southeast Asia, Tanah Abang, or what the Betawi people called Tanabang, was a plantation in central Jakarta. Even according to some sources, when it was still controlled by the Dutch East India Company, Tanah Abang was a lush area covered with trees, making it cool and beautiful. Then in 1648, a Chinese captain named Hua Benggam asked permission to work on a vacant land and plant it with trees that produce, so that the color of the soil there is abang, which means red. This title is the first time pinned down by the Mataram army who invaded Batavia. But in 1735, Tanah Abang began to develop and a market was established along the Monday Market. Short story: Tanah Abang increasingly skyrocketed in the era of the governor of Jakarta, Ali Sadikin, in 1972. Tanah Abang Market was built up to 3 floors and 4 blocks at once. Tanah Abang trades become even more successful after the arrival of the train station, which made this area big, now crowded by thousands of people.
Back then, before the colonialism, the Tanah Abang area was known as a very fast farming, especially for spices like ginger, local spice that we call palawija, nutmeg, bitter leaves that we call daun sirih, and also variety of nuts. So before the came of the Dutch colonialism, this area vastly known as the place for people to cultivate gardens and a very still remote area for the local people. Today, Tanah Abang is very different when it was still during the colonialism, because Tanah Abang today is very bustling with commerce, especially for merchants, business. That's actually dated back in the 17th century when the colonial came to Batavia and to Dutch East India or Indonesia. They created Tanah Abang as one of the most and oldest central for commerce and business in the city of Batavia. So Tanah Abang is actually a place where multicultural ethnics came. People from China, people from India, people from Persia, even the local Betawi ethnic groups also settled in Tanah Abang to see the business opportunity that this area has to offer. the people of Betawi lives all across the city. Some in the south, some in the north, some in the central. But of course, the most prominent and the most iconic area where the Betawi people lives in Jakarta is in the central, and more specifically in the Kebon Kacang area near Tamrin to Tanah Abang area. What unique from the origin of the name of Kebon Kacang, because it came from the origin of the area itself. Because back then, before the colonialism, this area was known as place to garden. So if you look at the area of Tanah Abang, they segregate and they segment the area based on the ingredients that they cultivate here, like kebon jahe, like kebon kacang, and that's the origin of the name. Even the kebon sirih, the betel leaves. So that's the origin of the name of the streets of the Kebon Kacang area and other kebon streets around Tamrin and Tanah Abang.
Around 1930, Kebon Kacang was a suburban area of Batavia. At that time, Tanah Abang did not have many inhabitants. The name Kebon Kacang came from an area where peanuts were widely grown as crops. The residents here are accustomed to using the produce of the earth to be used as daily necessities. They also wash, get water for drinking and cooking from the river. This area was once underestimated and seemed slums. But in 1965, or what the locals called it, the development period, Kebon Kacang being converted into an elite and elegant office and also residential area. From then until now, Kebon Kacang is inhabited by various ethnicities, but their original residents are the Betawi tribe.
With all of this bustling, the hustle and bustle area of Kebon Kacang, it is a definite fact that this area also offers delicious culinary offerings. And one of the most iconic and one of the most delicious culinary offerings that this area has to offer is the many kinds of Nasi Uduk that's so delicious, so local, that you cannot find anywhere else in other places in Jakarta, only in Tanah Abang and Kebon Kacang area. The interesting fact of Nasi Uduk, the history of Nasi Uduk, actually revolves around the history of rice itself, because in Indonesia, that's strong with the Malay culture, because we know that the Betawi is ethnic, and one of the most important ingredients on their daily diet is rice. If you ask people of Jakarta where to find good Nasi Uduk, the answer will be simultaneous and cohesive, which is in Kebon Kacang. Because in Kebon Kacang, as we mentioned, the local Betawinis culture is still strong, it's still rooted, and one of the most famous and the most iconic one is the Zainal Fanani. It's not just a Nasi Uduk vendor, it's also an icon of Jakarta culinary delicacy. And that's why the Nasi Uduk of Zainal Fanani still exists, even more than 50 years until this day. If you go to Kebon Kacang, there are lots of Nasi Uduk places that you can find here in this area. But one of the most iconic and perhaps the origin of it is the Zainal Fanani in Kebon Kacang 8. And why it's so unique? Because not just the long history of the place, but also the combination of the rice and the food. It tastes so good. The deep fried chicken and the deep fried everything is so special, especially the combination between the sambal and the rice. It's so special between any other Nasi Uduk vendors.
In Jakarta, Nasi Uduk menu is indeed famous and culinary destination for its citizens. There is no particular time to consume, and think that Nasi Uduk can be enjoyed at any time, either in the morning, afternoon, and even at night. The road we take today is famous for its culinary center, especially Nasi Uduk. So many choices that we can eat with the same delicious taste sensation. However, there is one shop that is very legendary because the taste has been passed down from family recipes. Located at 8 Kebon Kacang Street number 5 with a strong Betawi house feel, these nuances is so captivating to the visitors who pass in front of it. Yes, we have arrived at Nasi Uduk Kebon Kacang Zainal Fanani.
Perkenalan, nama saya Bapak Wawan, kerja di sini udah 30 tahun, umur saya 48 tahun. Bisa dibilang saya tangan kanannya Pak Jenal. Pekerjaan saya di sini koki, karyawan. Awalnya, bukan ayam goreng nasi uduk tahun 67, dipegang Bapak Haji Abdul Hamid, generasi pertama. Langsung sampai sekarang Bapak generasi kedua dipegang sama Bapak Pak Jenal. Langsung sampai berjalan sampai sekarang. Yang membedakan nasi uduk Pak Jenal sama dengan yang lain, di sini nasi uduknya nggak pakai penyedap, khasnya pakai daun pisang. Di tempat lain kan nggak pakai daun, sama pakai sambal nasi uduk, sambal terasi, kecapnya juga khusus sendiri. Resep aslinya dari awalnya dari Bapak Haji Abdul Hamid sampai sekarang dipertahankan sampai ke Pak Jenal, generasi yang kedua. Dulu nasi uduk Pak Jenal di pinggiran samping sini juga nggak jauh, Kebon Kacang 1. Pindah ke sini Kebon Kacang 8 tahun 2000 sampai sekarang.
According to history, the Malay people migrated from Malacca to Batavia by bringing their signature dish, namely nasi lemak. Then in Batavia, where Malay people meet Javanese people who are used to eating rice with a savory taste. However, there are sources that say that nasi uduk was introduced to Batavia by immigrants from Java in 1628 and became a popular dish after that. Whatever it is, nasi uduk is the result of mixing flavors from the Malays and Javanese who influenced the Betawi people. In the past, nasi uduk is a mandatory lunch menu for farmers to be eaten in the rice fields when break time arrives. It means nasi uduk is a typical dish of lower class people. With the various developments of the times, at this time, nasi uduk has also been closely attached to Betawi cultural traditions because it is not only served for daily menus but also menus for dishes at important events.
Untuk nasi uduk Bapak Pak Jenal udah ada 3 cabang di Alam Sutra sama Ridadeo Dalem, yang di Kebon Kacang 8 yang di sini sekarang yang pusat. Kerja di sini 2 shift dari jam 10 sampai jam 3 sore, dari jam 3 sore sampai jam 11 malam. Karyawan di sini yang bagian siang ada 5, yang malam ya 10. Bagiannya udah ada yang tukang bagian bikin nasi uduk, bikin yang buat bungkus, buat bikin sambal, udah bagiannya masing-masing. Isiannya nasi uduk, ada ayam, ada udang, ada babat, ada iso, ati ampela, tahu tempe, asinan, lalap, dan usus, ati. Dalam porsi nasi uduk komplit 35.000. Isi cuma nasi uduk cuma isi 2. Ada ayam, ada ati ampela, ada tahu tempe. Cara bertahan nasi uduknya Fanani pakai konsep yang lama, nggak pakai penyedap, sama pakai bungkusnya pakai daun pisang sampai sekarang. Dan kita ada di media online, penambah promosi, ada di Gojek, ada di Grab, ada di Shopee, udah ada semua. Tinggal pesan aja langsung nama nasi uduk Zainal Fanani. Kualitas sendiri dari dulu sampai sekarang tetap masih pakai yang lama, konsepnya nggak pakai penyedap, pakai rempah-rempah yang ada alami tradisional. Rempah-rempahnya pakai yang lama seperti biasa, alami, jahe, langkoas, daun salam, daun pandan, daun jeruk, biji pala, cengkeh, kayu manis. Dulu sebelum pandemi Di sini normal sampai sekarang ada penurunan omset separohnya lah 50%. Mudah-mudahan ke depannya sampai lancar seperti semula.
Nasi uduk is liked by many people because of its savory taste. The nasi uduk is a creation of white rice that has been seasoned with a non-sticky and fluffier texture. Nasi uduk is usually made from white rice, coconut milk, salt, lemongrass leaves, and orange leaves as the ground spices. Well, because the rice is already delicious, so it is suitable to be enjoyed with a variety of side dishes of your choice, such as fried chicken, sliced omelette, beef floss sprinkles, or sliced tempeh seasoned with soy sauce to enhance the taste. At this Nasi Uduk Zainal Fanani food stall, side dishes are served on a glass display case, which allows customers to choose their own favorite dishes. To serve it, the nasi uduk is wrapped in a very beautiful banana leaf and sprinkled with fried onions, and the texture is still hot. Seeing the dish, I'm sure you can already guess the taste is special.
Ya, nama saya Iwan, umur 30 tahun, asal Kebon, kerja di kedai Zainal Fanani sekitar 15 tahun lebih. Yang pertama sih ya cocok sama kerjanya, yang kedua bosnya juga baik sih, pengertian sama kita. Untuk shift, kita ada 2 shift ya, shift pagi biasa dari jam 9 sampai jam 3 sore, shift yang keduanya dari jam 3 sampai jam 12 malam. Kalau di sini cerita menariknya ya karena yang makan juga banyak-banyak artis juga banyak, pejabat juga banyak ya, jadi seru aja sih kerja di sini. Bule banyak yang ngeplok-ngeplok dari luar juga banyak. Cuma kalau untuk namanya kan kita nggak terlalu ini, tapi banyak vlogger-vlogger juga dari luar juga banyak yang ngeplok di sini. Kalau sementara sih sekarang belum kepikiran, masih menikmati kerjaan aja. Nggak tahu sih besok-besoknya, cuma sementara belum ada kepikiran. Kalau Pak Zainal Fanani itu orangnya yang pertama baik sih, yang kedua konsisten sama usahanya.
Ya, perkenalkan saya dengan Saldi Masra. Saya domisili di Kota Bogor, pekerjaan saya sebagai karyawan swasta. Kalau pertama nyoba di sini itu udah lama ya, mungkin sekitar tahun 2004-2005. Waktu itu kantor saya masih di Petojo Melintang, kemudian sekarang pindah ke Kebon Jeruk, sekarang pindah ke Bogor juga, tapi ya kadang-kadang masih main ke sini kalau berkunjung ke Jakarta gitu. Ya keunggulannya nasinya lebih gurih sih memang. Kemudian variasi-variasi menunya juga ya, kalau favorit saya ya ayam goreng dan paru goreng. Itu yang selalu saya pesan kalau mampir ke sini. Ya kalau harga, ya memang kalau harga nggak bisa dibilang murah juga lah ya, tapi ya masih terjangkau lah untuk karyawan-karyawan swasta seperti saya. Untuk pelayanan ya pasti memuaskan, kita juga nggak pernah menunggu sampai lama ya, jadi ya lancar-lancar aja sih, pelayanannya juga sangat baik juga. Ya kalau saran sih ya pasti parkiran, karena tadi aja saya kesini sempat muter juga gitu kan ke belakang untuk nyari parkiran, ya itu aja sih, mungkin karena parkirannya aja yang kurang kondusif gitu. Ya buat teman-teman sekalian, saudara-saudara sekalian ya yang hobi nasi uduk ya, bukan hobi aja sih, kalau ya mau mencoba makanan ya ini yang bisa direkomendasikan terutama yang berada di Jakarta dan sekitarnya lah. Kalau Jabodetabek ya bisa lah untuk mampir ke sini gitu. Ya mudah-mudahan nasi uduk Zainal Fanani bisa berkembang terus sehingga bisa membuka cabangnya di Bogor, sehingga kita juga warga Bogor bisa menikmati nasi uduk di sana.
I do believe with all of this modernity and modern cuisine that happened and took place in Jakarta, the nasi uduk Kebon Kacang still prevail as an icon, as one of the most iconic dishes that we have in this city. If I may add any advice to the nasi uduk Kebon Kacang vendors, I would say keep the quality, keep the standards, because people eventually will look at the quality of the flavor and the history of the food itself. My hope is for anyone, especially the young people in Jakarta, to also venture in to the area of Kebon Kacang and to enjoy and sample the delicious, not just delicious food, but delicious history that this place has to offer in a humble plate of nasi uduk.
Pak Zainal Fanani itu orangnya seperti kalau sama karyawan ada semua, ada namanya usaha lagi marah. Kalau lagi keadaannya rame ya alhamdulillah anak-anak juga jadi kelihatannya semua jadi enak gitu. Ada saran dari Pak Zainal Fanani lebih cabang, buka lagi kalau bisa sampai 4-5 gitu. Harapannya mudah-mudahan seperti kayak dulu, dari mulai sekarang kan zaman pandemi, keadaannya juga karyawan belum semuanya. Kalau bisa udah normal sama kayak yang dulu.
The delicacy of nasi uduk is not only recognized by the tongue of Indonesians, but also for people abroad, especially Europeans. Its authentic taste is proof that a cultural product must be passed down from generation to generation so that it can be enjoyed by anyone. Kebon Kacang Street, with many choices of nasi uduk in it, does not necessarily make them live competitively, but instead makes them understand that they depart from the same ancestors. Life on this road is truly peaceful and prosperous. The warm feeling of nasi uduk is a symbol of the friendliness of its citizens.